Namo Namaha. Shubhodayam. Welcome to all who have joined the webinar today. Today we are going to have another two papers being presented. One by Disha ji on position of water in select Puranas, and another one by Vidyuta, that is on King Bhoja's knowledge of Yantras. So without taking more time, I'll request Disha ji to start with the Prarthana and introduce herself, and then start this great topic. Disha ji.
Yes, sir. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. My name is Disha Panchal. I am from Mumbai. I am a teacher, and currently I am pursuing PhD from Chinmaya Vishwavidyapit since last 3 years. My research area is water in Puranas. With the same respect, I have developed the paper for VSS, Veda Samskruti Samiti today, and the title of the paper is Position of Water in Select Puranas. Shall I start, sir?
Please start. Please start.
Yeah, where I will be discussing on water in creation. Sir, my PPT is visible?
Visible.
I'm trying to maximize the screen. Yes. So today I will be discussing on water in creation, water details, origin and divinity of water, river and divinity, rivers, tirthayatra and rituals, vratas, danas, and after this I will be giving my concluding remarks. In this creation, water plays an important role and is seen that water is present before the creation, during the creation, and at the time of dissolution. All water sources such as lakes, wells, streams become so important for mankind as they make life on the earth. Starting from the Vedas, water occupies an important role in the literature like Itihasa, Puranas, and so on. Puranas promote performing certain rituals at the holy places that give equal fruits as performing certain yagnas. The gods and sages have taken an abode nearby river and water sources. Hence, such places are considered sacred and visited by many people, which is seen to have started from the Purana period. Purana are the great literature where we get ample of information which connects the ancient traditions and practices in a more simplified way. In this paper, the focus is on the position of water in the Puranas in various ways that is related to societies. Being a natural resource and one of the 5 elements, water is given due respect and regard. Puranas reveal how water is associated with many rituals and traditions that are followed by large society for a good life and life after death. as Indian philosophy believes in karma and moksha and life after death. Water is an important element among the Panchabhutas. Water is a natural resource that arrives on the earth in the form of rain and river. It is divine as it arrives from the celestial level. Water has got many attributes like purity, divinity, also the power of healing. In ancient literature, water is described as the foundation of the whole world, the essence of plant life, and the elixir of immortality, according to Shatapatha Brahmana. The Atharva Veda praise, may the water brings us well-being. There are many such descriptions about the quality, use, sanctity, and symbolism of water. When we look at the water deities, Apaha, Parjanya, Indra, Varuna, Agni, Soma are the deities related to water, and they have a lot of importance in the Vedic literature. Also, there are several suktas like Apas, Hiranyagarbha, Nasadiya, and there are different samvadas such as Vishwamitra Nadi Samvada related to water. They describe the importance of water as one of the important elements among the Panchabhutas and rivers as a natural resource. They describe the Taittiriya Samhita identifies waters with all the goddesses and says Apo Vai Sarvaha Devataha. The Atharveda contains invocation in honor of water goddesses. In this way, it is seen that how the water deities are worshipped and praised on the Vedas, and the blessings are taken from them. To understand the origin of water, we must first understand how the universe is created. The Veda mentions the Hiranyagarbha, the golden egg, which is the source of the creation of the universe. Puranas follow the theory of 7 sheets protecting the cosmic egg, and influenced by Sankhya theory of cosmic evolution, where the cosmic egg comprises the 14 worlds and divided into 3 parts, that is Svarloka, Bhurloka, and Atala. Within the egg exist all these worlds along with thousands of mountains, rivers, sun, moon, stars, and whatever that exists at present. This cosmic egg is enveloped externally by waters, fire, air, ether, cosmic ego, Mahat intellect, and Mahat is surrounded by the unmanifest respectively. The cosmic egg thus is surrounded by these 7 coverings created by Prakriti. The primary elements are the sky, air, fire, water, and earth. They are all pervading. According to Vayu Purana, ether has the subtle element sound that penetrates the subtle element of touch, and the air is produced. Thus, air has 2 attributes, sound and touch. They penetrate color, and fire comes into existence. Thus, fire has 3 attributes, sound, touch, and color. These 3 elements penetrate the subtle element of taste, and water is produced. Hence, the water has 4 attributes, sound, touch, color, and taste. These 4 elements penetrate the subtle element of smell, and earth comes into existence. Among all gross elements, the earth alone possesses all the 5 attributes. The living beings come into existence by the union of these 5 elements, and the sensory organs also play vital roles by this. Kith in the religion and philosophy of the Veda and Upanishads mentions that with the waters are connected not only the gods, but various plants and animals, of whom the most prominent are the snakes, the ants, and the frogs. H.G. Wells, in the outline of history being a plain history of life and mankind, says the life started developing at the shoreline, and it just went on in and by, and with water as its home, its medium, and its fundamental necessity. The first jelly-like beginnings of life must have perished whenever they got out of the water. We know life needs air, light, and it equally needs water to drink and digest the food taken. The different stages of development of life are described like the fish. The vertebrate series is the early Paleozoic stage. The next stage of the evolution of the living species is amphibians. Underja, they lay their eggs in and underwater. The tadpole stage gives place to reptiles. They were in the transition stage from the water to land animals. The Mesozoic stage, where the reptiles sturdily began to stand up and go on fours. Tortoise and turtles are from this class. Then the theriomorphous reptiles, the ancestors of mammals. Then the most important division of life cycle of the record is Cenozoic period, where huge changes in the crust of the earth happens and building up of the mountains progress. Here comes the Alps, Andes, and the Himalayan huge mountains. After this, the thick forest and plains progressed, where vegetation, Udbija, began. By this, the situation becomes quite fit for the development of mammals and appears the giant pig. After this, the man-like creatures originates. The entire process might have taken thousands of years for a caveman, fisherman, subman to develop. This is called glacial age. This is how the life on the earth have developed, where the beginning is from water. The Yajurveda describes that God is present in the human body all the time. Fire, Agni, as speech in mouth, air, Vayu in the nostrils as breathing, sun, Surya in the eyes as lens, directions, Disha in the ears as hearing, herbs, Oshadi is the skin as hair, moon, Chandramas in the body as heart, death, Mrityu in the navel as the downward breath, Apana. Water, Jala in the generative organ as semen. Similarly, it is also said that from fine water is created anus, and water can be perceived by four organs, which is ear, skin, eye, and tongue. The Dashavatara in the Puranas, we see that the incarnation of Matsya or fish relates to the deluge. The incarnations of tortoise, Kurma, and boar, Varaha, connected with water and deluge. In the Vamana Avatara, the incarnation of Vishnu is described. From the feet of Lord Vishnu, Ganga originated. Brahma washed Vishnu's foot from the water of his Kamandalu, and this water transformed into the celestial river, which is called Ganga, Akasha Ganga. According to Narada Purana, this water is known as Sarva Tirthodaka. According to the Garuda Purana, the Lord has an abode in the waters of the ocean, therefore he is called Narayana. In the Vayu Purana, it is said that since Brahma lies in the water is called Narayana. Brahma guided the Lord Nila Lohita to stay in the waters in the form of rasa, the lymphatic constituent in his body. This watery element is present in every living being is Bhava, which is another epithet of Rudra. This way, the water elements known as Bhava is present in every living being. Thus, any kind of water bodies like rivers, streams, lakes, etc. are considered pure and divine, so as every living being. Therefore, it is said that we should give due respect to these water bodies. These are the two shlokas related to this from Manusmriti and Mahabharata Anusashan Parva. Manusmriti says, Napsu mutram purisham va shtivanam va samutsrujet amedyaliptam manyadvat lohitam va vishaniva yat pibanti jalam tatra snayante vishramanti cha tadagadasya tat sarva pretyayantyaya kalpate. In the Vayu Purana, in the curse of Daksha, it is mentioned that Shiva became furious with Daksha and other sages after knowing the death of Sati and cursed Daksha. Daksha then said that as Shiva didn't respect the sages, the Brahmanas will never worship Shiva where they worship Devas, and they will offer water as purification after offering ahutis to Shiva. This is where offerings of water on Shiva is seen. In the Matsya Purana comes a story where it is seen that the demons plunged into waters of the sea and made their abode under the sea. due to the fearful fire on the earth spread with the command of Indra to destroy demons. Further, as demons took shelter of Varuna, Indra directed wind and fire to drive the ocean. As ocean is the shelter of lot of living creatures, both wind and fire, they denied commencing this sin. And hence Indra with anger cursed them to be on the earth in the form of sage and complete that command, and then the curse will be released. Thus both wind and fire, Vayu and Agni, jointly became sage Agastya, who further as a fire dried up the ocean in the fulfillment of Indra's command when the world was afflicted by demon Tarkatsura. Thus, there are several stories. They appear in different Puranas. They describe how water is associated with several deities and sages. Water is considered holy, divine, and pure since the Vedic times, where Rigveda says, Apo Asman Mataraha. Yajurveda says, Apo Asman Mataraha Shundhantu. As water purifies from all impurities, it is considered as mother. Yaska in his Nirukta offers the etymology of river, Nadyaha Kasmat Nadanaha Bhavanti. She is called river because she makes sound while flowing, and the flowing water is always pure. There are 37 different words for river and 100 different words for water as per Nirukta. We can see that there is tremendous importance given to the river from Rigvedic period. There is a very famous hymn on river in Rigveda's 10th mandala says, Imam me Gange Yamune Saraswati Shututri Somam Sachata Purushnaya Asi Kanya Marud Bruddhe Vitastaya Arjikiye Shunu Ya Sushomaya. Here, many rivers, the names of the rivers are described. There are many stories appear in the epics and Puranas for different rivers and their divinities, where the goddesses, Apsaras from heaven, become rivers on the earth as a part of their serving to the mankind. Sage Kapila in Siddhapur, Sage Bhrugu on the banks of the river Narmada, and Sage Markandeya on the Tapi river have developed their hermitages. This shows that the rivers got spiritual importance and considered holy places. Annie Feldos in her book Water and Womanhood says that rivers are feminine and have gotten extraordinary importance in Indian culture. The rivers have played very important role in the development of mankind. That is why river is called the mother. The most important river Ganga appears on the earth to remove sin. She is the river flowing in heaven, on the earth, and in the netherworld, and hence she is called Tripathaga. The Mahabharata describes the Ganga as the savior of life. Because of her grace, compassion, and motherly bliss, the Ganga descended from heaven to earth to liberate 60,000 Sagarits by the great penance and efforts made by Bhagirath, and she continues this activity. This way, the importance of the river Ganga is so much that local rivers are said to be like Ganga and are sometimes called the local Ganga. The Kaveri river of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu is considered as the Ganga of the south. The river Godavari in Trambakeshwar in Maharashtra is also called the Ganga. Similarly, there are many other rivers like Godavari, Tapi, Narmada are considered sacred. In India, the tradition of Tirtha is seen from the days of the Rigveda. The word Tirtha occurs in the Rigveda in the sense of a road or a way. The Taittiriya Samhita has enjoined a bath for a sacrifice at Tirtha or a holy place. The word Tirtha could be derived from the root through, meaning to cross over. Cross over what? The sinful activities performed by an individual which are likely to form an obstruction in his course towards his further journey in the world or in the heavenly world are crossed over. The Rigvedic seers regarded water to be pure and having cleansing and purifying trait. The Rigvedic seers have requested the water to protect them. Says, Ya apo divya utva sravanti khanitrima utva swayanjaha samudrartha ya shuchayah pavakasta apa devi riha mamavantu. There is an interrelationship between the river and the society, where there are wide range of rituals followed by people due to the holistic attachment to that place. This way, the tradition is maintained by the society to visit such places for worship known as tirthas. In the Puranas, various changes have made in the earlier fundamental principles and beliefs, help the society for better and easier way of following the rites and rituals than the complex, complicated, rigid, and difficult sacrifices with lot of stress. This way, vratas, danas, and tirtha yatras were introduced for achieving the desired results. Puranas say that sun worship, meditation performed at the holy places help the body improves blood circulation. The hot spring at certain holy places contain a large quantity of sulfur, phosphorus, and inorganic salts. The ultraviolet rays of the sun give vitamin D to the exposed body, which also cure many skin diseases, bone disorders.
Disha ji,
Yes.
you have enough time. You don't have to hurry up. You take your time and then you can be slow also in your delivery.
Okay, sir. The Puranas carry forward the old ancient belief that the flowing water can cure many diseases as it is charged with the rays of the sun. With this, it is also noted that during ancient time, the flowing water was collected even while performing different sacrifices, and the sacrifices were performed nearby the water sources. Skanda Purana narrates that Agni is associated with rivers as their husband. That is why the authors of Puranas recommend the performance of sacrifice on the banks of the rivers or nearby water sources. Puranas also state that a wicked mind can never become pure by bathing at holy places, like a wine pot which is never purified even though it is washed 100 times with water. Vamana Purana states bath in water of Somatirtha leads to the fruit of Rajasuya sacrifice. Similarly, there are a number of tirthas that are described in different Puranas, give a detailed information, the description of different tirthas and the fruit obtained from visiting such tirthas, such as Amrita Tirtha, Surya Tirtha, Avimukta, and many more. Gaya, Prayaga, Varanasi are some of the prominent tirthas are holy and they bestow the religious merits upon the visitors. Many rituals are performed on the banks of the rivers. This way, the Tirtha Mahatmya came into existence. Ganga Mahatmya, Godavari Mahatmya, Narmada Mahatmya, and many rivers describe their uniqueness and the divinity attached to it. The rivers are the reservoirs of water. People are always in need and dependent on the continuous water supply throughout the year. Many times it so happens that the supply can be affected due to heavy rains and flood or drought during the extreme summer. People visit and worship nearby rivers, take blessings, request to stay calm and happy, and take care of them like a mother taking care of her children. Also, people visit rivers or temples for various reasons like for good health, long life, for marriage, children, wealth, success, etc. The fishermen who stay near the ocean and work there, they worship the ocean as they get their daily earnings through fishing in the ocean. They perform a ritual every year on Nariyali Purnima in the month of Shravana on the full moon day, which comes after the rainy season, by offering a coconut with a prayer to the ocean to calm down, to let the water go down so that they can restart their work and take the blessings of their safety. Rivers are offered haldi, kumkum, flowers, rice, coconut, etc. And prayers are done. There is a ritual that is still prevalent at Narmada River. A sari is spread to the other side of the coast from one side. This way, many rituals are done for considering rivers as mothers and asking for a protection. To express their gratitude from children to their mother, the prayer and offerings are made. In the Narada Purana, in Uttararda describes that there are as many as 400 principal tirthas on the banks of the river Narmada. Brahma Purana describes the tirthas on the bank of Godavari river. Skanda Purana describes about 68 tirthas at Hatakeshwara at Saurashtra. Moreover, tirthas were regarded as substitute of Vedic yagnas. In the Puranas, it is seen that different Puranas describe prominent regions, such as Matsya Purana gives detailed information about the tirtha on the banks of the river Narmada. Markandeya Purana acclaims tirthas in the Vindhya region. Bhagavata Purana glorifies tirthas of Deccan. The Garuda Purana for the Mithila region and Brahma Purana for Utkala region. According to Vamana Purana, the people from all four ashramas, varnas, and women, when they take a dip in the tirthas, attains the highest goal, and seen in the Puranas that the rules of untouchability were waived off at the time of bathing at a pilgrimage. The householder who visits the pilgrimage must accompany his wife if she is alive. Otherwise, he would not reap the fruit of pilgrimage. Tirthas were visited for the religious rites such as Homa, Mantra, Snana, Sandhya, Tarpana, Pindadana, Shraddha, Tapas, Dana, Puja, Kirtana, Mahatmya Shravanam, Yatra, Parikrama, Mundana, Vrata, Japa. A mere dip in the holy rivers were believed to heal, purify, and rejuvenate. A person becomes a new human being by washing away the sins like a new birth of that person. The authors of Puranas also concentrated on the bodily cleanliness, especially to a pre-literate group of society by bathing and worshipping. Padma Purana states that visiting Tirtha, diseases are removed by taking bath. Says Tirtham Rogaharam Snanat. In the Matsya Purana, it is described that the rivers like Ganga, Narmada, Godavari, the confluence or sangam of different renowned rivers are famous for the rituals of the ancestors such as Shraddha, Pindadana, Tarpana. There are many tirthas in different parts of India, but some of the prominent tirthas are like Kashi, Prayaga, Gaya, Gangotri, Haridwara, Varanasi, Dashashwamedha, Gangadwara, Nanda, Lalita, Mayapuri, Mitrapada, Kedara, Gangasagara, Banaras, Rishikesha. Banaras, Rishikesha and Haridwar, these tirthas are related to river Ganga, where majority of the people would like to visit and take great experience of the Ganga Arati on the banks of the river Ganga, when the entire river side is lit up with thousands of glow of lamps at the time of setting of the sun. Prayaga is the sacred place where the river Yamuna merges with river Ganga, is an ancient pilgrimage site where the festival of Kumbh Mela occurs once in every 12 years. Ganga Sagar is the place where Ganga meets the ocean. This pilgrimage site is associated with Kapila Muni. The Rigvedic period emphasizes to accept gifts of horses, cows, gold, clothes as dakshina and charity, dana, as virtuous. Varaha Purana emphasizes dana of water leads to eternal satisfaction. Vayu Purana describes about a gift of a pitcher full of water at the time of performing Shraddha. Visiting holy places and gifting is considered most auspicious. As with such changes, the survival of Brahmanas would be difficult. That is why the Puranas emphasize on gifting to them by assuring people that by such gifting, people will secure the equal fruits of performing sacrifices. The means of objectives were changed to vratas and danas from the old practice of performing sacrifices for the betterment of the society for the same motives. Bhagavata Purana describes that the boat can be crossed over the terrible river Vaitarani, Naraka Nadi, only by making liberal gifts, dana, to the Brahmanas and perform certain sacred rites on its banks. Several danas are performed on the banks of the rivers in pilgrimage. It is believed that dana performed at Prayaga is considered to lift the soul to heaven. The Pitrus say that one who offers them even a libation of water and sesamum, it is equivalent to performing Shraddha regularly for thousands of years. Puranic vratas were performed on pure days and when days of the constellations were auspicious. Observing vratas must be following by withdrawing non-vegetarian food and alcoholic drinks on certain days during pilgrims preserve the sanctity of holy places. In this way, the pilgrimage becomes the medium to cultivate the cultural, religious, and social values in the society. The Agni Purana describes that one who worships Vishnu on Ekadashi obtains wealth, sons, and attains Vishnu Loka. Similarly, there is another vow uh, that is to be performed on the 11th day of bright half of Ashwina, that is known as Akhanda Ekadashi, where Vishnu is worshipped with leaves, flowers, fruits, and not broken Akhanda like gold, pearls, etc. And the next day, the worshipper should take bath. It is believed that the thing with which he takes bath becomes akhanda, unceasing in his house for the rest of the year. In certain vratas, the water is used for libation of offering as a part of rituals. Kamandalu filled with water is given to Brahmins as a part of vrata is also seen. When the lunar or solar eclipse takes place, bathing after the eclipse is very commonly seen and sprinkling of holy water in the house is also followed by people. Those who offer libation of water to the manes of the deceased ancestors and to the gods always attain what they desire wherever they are born. Giving drinking water to needy is always considered auspicious and virtuous. The person who builds well, pond, lake, or any kind of water supply for the society or even repairs such water source is always a meritorious conduct and uplifted to heaven. The Pitrus are satisfied through the libation of water. Thus, it is seen that Puranas give ample information of water and water sources like river, where we come to know that right from the creation to the daily use, water plays an important role. Water sustains life on the earth and uplifts the soul for further journey. Almost all Puranas regard water as goddess, divine, and different Puranas re-insist water as sacred and describe various rituals performed near water source bestow a lot of virtues. Also, it is seen that Puranas have initiated the social gathering, implemented to remove the caste barriers, and brought people together by introducing pilgrimage and rituals to be performed to certain holy places. In this way, people have become more aware of the religion to follow and performance of different rituals. It also paves way for the unity of families, understanding the responsibilities toward the ancestors, individual awareness of cleansing body, mind, soul, thoughts, and attain peace in life. Puranas clearly explain the scientific, religious, spiritual, and philosophical importance of the water, the divinity attached to the god, the rituals followed by people in the grace, and different attributes of water reveals its importance, which is unimaginable and unique. Water serves the mankind, becomes the ladder of the growth for the society that must be respected for the benefit of society for a good life. The divinity, purity, healing power, motherhood, and godliness are some different facets of water seen in the Puranas. This makes the position of water more and more strong for the older as well as the newer generations in the society. This way, I complete my paper. These are the references and books that I have referred for this article. I sincerely thank Veda Samskruti Samiti for giving me this opportunity to present the paper. I also sincerely thank my guide, Dr. L. Sampath Kumar, to guide me in my research. Thank you. Hari Om. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dishaji. A very beautiful presentation covering all aspects of the matters in the Puranas connected with water. I don't think you left anything. It is a research paper, so therefore you would have considered all aspects of it, and the bibliography is very, again, comprehensive. You have given a lot of references to various parts of the Vedic sciences regarding water. Now we will have interaction with the audience, the participants.
Yes,
Please raise your hand, those who want to ask questions. Please raise your hands. In fact, I will welcome here. Prahlad Kumar ji is there, Narsimham Garu, Ramakrishna Garu, Sandilya ji, Jhansi. Welcome to this webinar. I request them also to give their views on this topic. Firstly, we will take any questions which are, I will see if any questions are there in the chat box.
Sir, I think Lakshmi ji has raised the hand.
Okay, Lakshmi ji. Okay, Rao.
Namaskar, Mahodaya.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it is a very interesting and informative lecture. Didn't know that water has so many forms and such importance in the Vedic Puranas. Very well covered, madam. Hats off to your research work. Can we have is this work published already?
No, I am doing it right now.
Okay. We can take the points from this lecture, isn't it? Your PowerPoint presentation is open, is in the public domain now.
Yeah.
Not the PowerPoint presentation, maybe the paper will be available.
Yeah, but this PowerPoint presentation, what you have presented now, can the points be noted by us who have listened to this lecture?
You can do that. You can you can refer to this. So this video is again being recorded, and it will be available on YouTube. So it is in public domain. So you can always refer to that.
Yeah, actually, and all these books which she has mentioned, are these available on Amazon, or how do we purchase them?
Yeah,
because some are very interesting and it is very informative.
Like Diji, Vedic Sahitya. This is available, madam, in Vishwavidyalaya, Varanasi Vidyuta.
Sir, few of the references that I have taken from at the time of my MPhil, and certain points that I have covered from that research, because that research was related to Ganga Avatarana, and the rest of the books available in different libraries. Due to this COVID situation, online libraries are available, like archive.org. Such libraries, all the books are available, all the Puranas are available. If you type the title of the book and the author's name in Google, you will come to know where it is available.
Madam, can you give the link and also your phone number so that we can be in touch with you and at the same time access that site?
Yes, I'm typing it.
Okay, in the chat box, you will get the number. Now, we'll have CB Lakshmi
Thank you.
Garu asking her question.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
CB Lakshmi Garu.
Sorry, I was a bit fast in the beginning because the paper was too lengthy and I didn't want to miss any part of it. So maybe you might have felt it is very fast delivering.
No, it doesn't matter. You also have displayed the PPT, which will help people to understand what you are talking. No problem. But
Yeah.
some people have expressed it is fast, so that's why I said it. Now we'll have KM Rao Garu asking his question.
Okay.
Good morning, madam. Good morning to everybody. And I have no specific question, but thing is that since she is doing PhD, I would like to have some small suggestions only for her because PhD purpose bibliography should be written in APA order actually. That I think she has not mentioned. That is, of course, this is not for the subject matter for discussion. Anyway, this is for the PhD purpose. That is APA format is there. That format has to be put. And one more thing is that whenever you are mentioning Vayu Purana, Matsya Purana, and all these things, if you can incorporate the Sanskrit shloka also, that would be still fine, madam. That is what I feel. Because thing is that where exactly it is there, whether you have taken it from any translation or any original textbook will not be known unless the reference is given this so and so chapter, so and so number, so and so Purana, something like that. If that is mentioned at the end, at least bibliography, it will be helpful because you were mentioning that what are references and different places, Vayu Purana, Matsya Purana, and all these things. Thing is that where exactly Vayu Purana, if I want to verify it. That is because I am having the Puranas. If I want to verify it, where exactly it is there, that is mentioned, that would be still more helpful, madam. That is the thing. Because there are many translations will be there because I am doing research on Mahabharata. Some places they will be mentioning. I have having a lot of English textbooks where they will be mentioning that chapter so and so. Which chapter? Mahabharata is having different versions of Mahabharata we are having. Similarly, Puranas also different versions are there. Which version you are mentioning, that is also important, and which version and under what chapter and what this one shloka, that is also if you mention, then that would have more weightage will be there. Then that really the research will be having a lot of value, madam. That is one thing. And of course, this is a good topic because every day we will be chanting Napo Vaidagam Sarvam Vishwa Bhutanyapah Pranavapah Pashavapah. Everywhere water is there. No? So you have mentioned all the water, the places of origin, Gangavatanam also you have mentioned. Really good, madam. It is worth it is listening. You have given a good what is called account of water and how it is water is connected to human body and all these things. And recently I come across one, of course, the time is there, I will be telling, because there is one Jyotisha Pandit I met. He was telling, sir, water references, why it is useful for us. He was giving a new, very beautiful reference he was giving, because body is consisting of 90% of water and 1%, 10% of other things. So here the universe is also the same thing, maybe 75, 25, something of that nature. Anda Pinda Anda Nyaya is there, no, something like that. Because what human body is there, that is cosmos, it is related to cosmos. Somehow he is relating like that. It was a very wonderful way of presenting. So what you have presented is also a very good one, madam. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Sir, I would like to answer your questions because this is a PPT and I cannot give all the reference details in the PPT. So that's why the bibliography is. And if you want to go through the references that I have taken from which Purana, which version, everything is mentioned in the paper.
Fine, madam. Okay.
Yeah, so
Good.
all the details are there just at the end of the same page.
Okay, madam.
So
Fine.
you will get all the details of the which book I have referred, which translation, on which what is the chapter, what is the page number, everything is mentioned there.
Fine, madam. That is good, madam. It's fine.
Thank you, sir.
Good, madam.
Great. Okay, next one we'll have it from Bhagavan. Bhagavan Das Odisha.
Sir, namaste. Myself is Bhagavan Das from Odisha.
Yeah.
I have some doubt regarding river Saraswati. Om Panchanadya Saraswati Mapiyanti Sasrotasaha Saraswati tu Panchadha Sodese Bhavat Sarit. It is in Vedas, but now it is not found. And some people, they are in opinion that it was near Sindhu, and some of us are telling that it was near Prayag. So there should be some इसके ऊपर गवेषणा होना चाहिए. तो सरस्वती कहाँ था? अगर सरस्वती लुप्त हो गया तो गंगा क्या लुप्त हो जाएगा? इसका भविष्य क्या है? अभी तो क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है, तो इसके ऊपर कुछ आलोकपात कीजिए.
Yes, sir. Actually, my topic is a general. I would be doing a research, general research on water and rivers. So here in my PhD research, I would not be concentrating on a single river. So till now, I have not come across any such data in Puranas that I can answer your this question.
So now it is my request to you that Saraswati is profoundly used in Vedas, and
Yes.
if we go to rivers, we can't ignore Saraswati. And why we lost Saraswati? I don't know. What was the sin of Aryavarta that it lost Saraswati like river, or it is now in any secret flowing?
No,
I request you to please investigate in this matter.
okay,
Definitely,
sir.
sir.
This will be, a research topic for further research, which if you know, she will be doing it later probably. But it is a topic which everywhere it is discussed, the Saraswati, its origin and its, different aspects of it. But for this session, we will leave it to the audience. Now,
As per my knowledge, I can tell you one thing. I have no idea. Few years before I came across with this seminar where this person in Mumbai University, he was working on the river Saraswati. And all details he have mentioned during his seminar. So we must find out who that person is and whether that research is completed so that we can get all the information about river Saraswati.
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Then now we'll have Umar Ramya Reddy.
Sir, Mahodaya, Namaskaram to all the people, both listeners and speakers. Dishaji has presented a very nice paper, but it is mostly descriptive. The topic is very nice. In a sense, without water, no Purana or Veda, anything is there. Water is so important. I shall confine myself only to a few suggestions, that too from Rigveda. In Rigveda, water is used in three main senses. One is apaha. It occurs more than 200 times. Next is nadi. In all Vibhutis, it occurs 100 times. Next is samudra. About 70 to 75 times it occurs. But in all these cases, there are concepts, scientific concepts are there. Because she has mentioned many Puranas, etc. All the Purana compilers, it seems, have taken the concept from the Vedas, especially from Rigveda. So Dishaji's paper will become purely scientific paper if she can connect all her concepts to the Vedic concepts, which are purely scientific. That is my suggestion. But how to do it is a difficult task for any research scholar, as I know. Simply take the Rigvedic concept, Apo Narayati, that is, the Narayana Shabd is from Apo. Like that, all the definitions, or most of the definitions are there in Vedas and Rigveda. Take that definition and connect it to that Purana which you are mentioning. Then that will become purely a scientific paper. At least if some dozen concepts are elaborated like that, the thesis will become a very rich one, which is publishable on the universal scale, I say. That is my submission, sir. It is left to Dishaji to try for this thing. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much
the
for the
suggestion.
feedback.
Thank you for the suggestion. Dishaji will definitely take care of this in her
Thank you.
further work. One question, typical slightly. Ice takes more space than the same quantity of melted water. Is it mentioned anywhere in sacred texts? Have you come across this, Dishaji?
I have not come across anything regarding ice. It is like a Hema, and there is some information available in Vayu Purana. I will have to check with that.
Okay. Then we'll request SP Kumarji, Prahlad Kumarji is our.
Namaste to all of you.
Yeah.
Am I audible to you, sir?
You are audible. Video is not visible.
Okay, sir. The point is, the very word apa, which has been used in Vedas, doesn't mean water always. Actually, if you take Mantra Upanishad or Narayana Upanishad, where it is, there is a particular part where it is stated, Agnirva apo vai ayatanam, apo va agnirvai ayatanam. That means Agni has his residence in Apa, Apa has residence in Agni. Similarly, Vayu, Parjanya, Samvatsara, so many other aspects of creation are stated to have their residence or ayatana in Apa. Apa is supposed to have also its residence in Agni or other aspects of that. Therefore, Apa does not mean always water. And Veda, there are about 100 words which mean they are, let us say, synonyms of Apa. Therefore, Apa actually means before the starting of creation. It means the finest state of matter which exists before the creation starts. Because if you refer to the creation of elements, from ether comes Vayu, from Vayu comes Agni, from Agni comes Apa or Jala. Therefore, Jala is not always the meaning of Apa. Apa actually comes from the word Apo, Ashlu, Vyaptau, that which spreads throughout. Therefore, the very word Apa has nothing to do with general sense of water. Also, there is another thing, Nada, Nara, Nala, Nada. They are all variations of this one word which moves on from one text to another text in different ways. Nara, Nala, Nada, Nada. Therefore, Nadayana, Nalayana, Narayana, Nadayana, they always mean the same thing. And another important aspect is, there is the other person has referred to this, Yatha Brahmande, Yatha Pindande. Therefore, there is a one-to-one correspondence between the macrocosm and the human body. And also there is one more intermediate one that is called mesocosmos. That is between macrocosmos and microcosmos. There is another word which is called mesocosmos. And this mesocosmos refers to the solar system. And another important aspect of this is, in Rigveda, Samudra is not the terminus of all rivers like your terrestrial body. On earth, all rivers flow towards Samudra. But in Veda, Samudra is the source of rivers. And that's why the 16 rivers mentioned in Rigveda, they are all starting from the Samudra. They are flowing out of that Samudra. And the 4 rivers particularly mentioned in Rigveda and other things, Sita is one of them. Alaknanda is there. Chakshusha is another one of them. Therefore, there are 4 rivers coming out of the first Samudra. And therefore, there are 2 Samudras, one in the sky above, one Samudra on our earth. And that's why it is called Akasha Ganga, Bhagirathi, and Bhogavati. 3 names, that is called Tripathaga. Therefore, it flows in 3 different places. And that particular place where it is flowing in Patala is called Bhogavati. And in earth, it is called Bhagirathi. Bhagirathi does not mean, we need not associate that with King Bhagirath and all that. And Sagara and all those things, they are all synonyms of Sagara itself means Sagara, one who includes Visha in his radiation. Therefore, Surya himself is titled as, he emits Gara, Visha in the upward direction and Amrita in the downward direction. That is given in Upanishads also. Therefore, we need not always think of Apa as Jala and equate that with water in our system. And that is another thing, it is not 90% in the human body, it is only about 60 to 55 to 60% in the human body. and is about 5 liters of water in the human body. Therefore, it is not too much. And blood is another 5 liters. Therefore, it is the only quantity is liquid quantity, you can call it, but not totally just water. This is the basic idea of correspondence between the human body and the, let us say, Brahmanda. Solar system is another thing. Sun is himself emitting what is called solar wind, which consists of all charged particles together with energy radiation in different, let us say, spectral components of that, from UV, visible light, infrared, far infrared, near infrared, lower ultraviolet, to X-ray radiation, to microwave, radiometric waves. Therefore, there are 7 to 8 components of solar radiation. Therefore, these are all Apa, these are all Sarita, these are all Saraswati. And original Saraswati is in Rigveda, she is eulogized as Devi Tame, Nadi Tame, Ambi Tame. Devi Tame also means it is source of radiation. And Div has got 10 different meanings. Krida, Vijigisha, Vyavahara, Dvyuti, Stuti, Moda, Mata, Swapna, Kanti, Gati. And these are all these 10 aspects of Devata. Saraswati as Devi Tame should be interpreted in their proper context, not just as rivers on earth. The other point is Saraswati river took birth around 11,000 years back due to plate tectonics and rising of Himalayas. It started flowing towards Sindh and it merged near Gujarat. And therefore that Saraswati river, it flowed for in its full vigor with a width of about 10 miles over the past Shivalik Himalayas to Sindh part. And then due to again plate tectonics, when the Pir Panjal mountain ranges started rising up, the Saraswati and Sindhu and Yamuna, which were flowing into the Saraswati, they were cut off from Saraswati and Saraswati started drying up. And this drying up of Saraswati has been very clearly described in Anushasana Parva and other Puranas, where Saraswati bids farewell to Ganga and Yamuna, says, I am going away from you, I will start disappearing. And that is what is called Vinashana Tirtha in Kurukshetra, where she disappeared temporarily. And further, there is one more disappearance. And latest satellite photography has given us pictures of the flow of Saraswati 5,000 years back. And this is available in a book called Satellite Photography of Saraswati, published in latest books. Therefore, you can refer to that and you can have a very clear picture of Saraswati River and about 2,500 ashramas on its 2 banks. There were 2,500 ashramas on its 2 banks, and after its disappearance, slowly drying up, people on the west bank moved towards the western countries, and people on the eastern bank, they moved towards Koshala, Bihar, and Bengal. And at that time, Bengal was a marshy land. There was no land actually at that time. And this is again described in Vaidharba and his Purohita as they were moving on a Ratha towards Koshala country. Madhava, King Madhava, along with his Purohita, he moved on a Ratha towards Koshala. That is again described in Veda. This is my submission. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prahalad Kumar Garu. Thank you for the information you have given to all of us. Now, AHP Rao Garu is there in the meeting. Would you like to say anything?
I think I was not present. I'm sorry. I was busy with some other job. So,
okay.
Let us continue. Let us continue the next lecture.
Yeah.
I will see the video and react with that.
Yeah. Okay, Disha ji, you have given a beautiful lecture, a very important topic, that is water. Water is essence of everything. We always do Sandhya Vandanam and offer water to the sun and also offer water to the ancestors. You all covered all these things. And between food and water, water is more important. Without water, you can't take even food also. And also health, and without taking water, there is no health. Health is very, very dependent on the water itself. And water gives us a lot of energy. Otherwise, also it gets converted into hydraulic energy. And in temples are always, built on the banks of the river. And also water is mostly used in the temples for various things. So importance of water, since it is available in plenty, is not realized by all of us, but the people, in Gulf and all, where the water is, drinking water is not there. There, the importance of water in the modern age is definitely felt. Thank you very much for the research. I wish you all the best for further research and on this topic. And any more lectures, if you can give it to us, that will be great. And
Thank you very much.
yeah, then we will welcome the next speaker, Vidyuta ji. Can you open your video, madam?
Am I audible, sir?
You are audible, and let me highlight you. Yeah, and welcome to the forum. The topic you have chosen is very important topic. That is King Bhoja's knowledge of Yantras. So Yantras is one of the big topic which nowadays everybody is concentrating on, because there is a lot of science in Vedic texts where we want to, they say that, this knowledge is there, it is being used by everybody. But that knowledge, how to bring back to this today's world, it is a big question, and people are working on that. So this lecture may address that particular aspect also. Vidyuta ji, can you introduce yourself and start your topic?
Yes, sir. Namaste, sir. Is my slide visible?
Yeah, slide is also visible.
Okay, sir. Thank you. So I am Vidyuta from Kupaswamy Sastry Research Institute, and I have done my MPhil in Deva Prasada of Vishwakarma Vastu Shastra, which is a study on the temple architecture according to Vishwakarma Vastu Shastra text. And I have done my PhD on the subject of Kashyapa Shilpa Shastra, where I have talked about the Lakshana of Mandapa, Gopura, and Prakaras in the temple. And now I'm presently doing a postdoctoral project of translating the Kashyapa Shilpa Shastra text, which is it has about 4,000 verses. So we are trying to translate it with a critical edition of the text. Before going into my subject, I just like to highlight upon the different research topics that have been done at our institute, as Sir had asked last time. So these are some of the topics. These are the PhD research topics that has been completed by in our institute under the able guidance of Dr. V. Kameshwari, our director, Dr. K.S. Balasubramaniam, our deputy director, and Dr. T. Vasudeva, our deputy director, and under Dr. V. Yamuna Devi, who had talked as first lecture, who had given the first lecture here. Among these subjects, Krishna Devagya's Bija Pallava critical study is a mathematical text that has been done by Dr. Sita Sundaraman, our secretary, who had talked last week. And Vidyuta Paritane of Venkatadharan is a Mimamsa text, and it has been done by Dr. S. Annapurna. Purusha Pariksha is a Sahitya text, a prose text. And then we have the Amarakosha Udgadana of Shiraswami, which has been done by a socio-critical study, has been done by Dr. Yamuna Devi. And it has, and some of our theses have been published by the Karnataka Historical Research Society as part of their centenary celebration. So about 12 of our theses got published, and one of them being Amarakosha Udgadana of Shiraswami, and another is my MPhil thesis Deva Prasada as per Vishwakarma Vastu Shastra. And the text Jivanandana critical study is an allegorical text, and the mathematical importance of Buddhivalasini was by Dr. And that is a mathematical text. Next is Preeti had talked earlier. She has done her PhD on Chennai in Sanskrit literature. And these are the other texts on and Dr. P.C. Mullidharan, who had talked last week. 2 weeks back, he has done his BSc thesis on Parijata Harana Nataka, which is a drama text. So these are some other topics, and currently, and these are the MPhil topics. And among this, Kanjifa Kelana is a different study on card play. And Amanaska Yoga is on a rare concept of yoga, where even manas has to be avoided during your yogic practice. And then Karani in Ganita Shastra is on surds, mathematical concept. And so other than this, there's been a presently they are doing study on Prasanna Raghava, and then Vishachikitsa of Kashyap Samhita. And then there are 2 or 3 more theses going to be presented on mathematics. So and one on Advaita Yoga Vasishta by Lavanya ma'am. And the significance of Vadavagni you have already seen, as presented by Ramya a few weeks back. So going into my topic, I am going to talk upon the topic King Bhoja's knowledge of Yantras. In ancient India, outstanding contributions have been made in the realms of literature, art, religion, and philosophy. In addition to it, topics pertaining to major sciences like medicine, mathematics, etc., have always formed the recognized subject for research. Tantra and Yantra are familiar words in Sanskrit, where Tantra is the Shastra and Yantra is the practical form of it. That from ancient times, the idea of Yantra was very common is proved by 2 facts: the application of the concept to the esoteric sphere and the way the Yantra roused the imagination of seekers of scientific knowledge. In esoteric worship, Yantra is a chart which stored up within its confines spiritual power drawn on a flat surface or made in relief. If it had components or details which had to be strictly conformed to, and as an instrument for achieving spiritual power, it eminently deserved the name Yantra. In general parlance, the term Yantra is derived from the root yam, to control. So basically, we can see that the word Yantra has been used freely to depict any contrivance, starting from the very simple and common ones like the water pulley in the well called Kati Yantra, an oil presser Taila Yantra, cane presser Ikshu Yantra. Water lifts and weighing balances were also referred to as Yantras according to the Arthashastra. But these must not lead us to think that very complicated mechanisms was not evolved by the ancients. For the mechanical skill of ancient India had produced many accessories for scientific activities such as surgical instruments, Paka Yantras, laboratory equipment in medicine, Rasayana Yantra, and the astronomical Yantras described in Jyotisha works. The Yantras admit 3 principal classes, namely the Yana Yantras or conveyances like Vimana and chariots, the Udaka or Vari or Dhara Yantras include the water machines, pipes, and showers, the Sangrama Yantras being the machines of warfare. The earliest reference to an Yantra is seen in the Vedas. The Ratha or chariot, which falls under the Yana category is praised as one of the best creations of the most ancient architects. The Rathakara of the Vedic times was ever a person of importance, according to Vajasneyi Samhita, the Shatapada Brahmana, and the Atharva Veda. The many Riks in the Rig Veda mention great architects like Ribhus, Vishwakarman, Tvashtar, and Takshaka. Rathakara is a person of high skill and mental equipment, and he was mentioned as Dhira and Manishin. Similarly, we can find such references regarding the Yantras lying scattered in our Sanskrit literary works. Among the literary works in Sanskrit, the Samarangana Sutradhara, ascribed to King Bhoja, is in many ways a direct treatise on architecture in general. It is a theoretical text that also has substantial information on these yantras or mechanical contrivances. The value of Boja on this topic is greater than any other literature because he provides some details regarding the construction of these yantras and explains at the beginning the principles underlying the yantras. The 31st chapter of the Samarangana Sutradhara, called the Yantra Vidhana, and its 224 verses are wholly devoted to a description of various mechanical devices. This chapter describes simple mechanical tools for day-to-day usage like pulley, etc. It also describes yantras for amusement, domestic and defensive yantras, machines for warfare, conveyance machines, and water machines. The Samarangana Sutradhara states that a yantra is so called because it controls and directs the motions of things that act upon each other according to its own nature. That is, a yantra or a machine is one which controls the 5 elements or panchabhutas and makes them serve a specific purpose. As Boja explains, it is from the principle of control, yam, that the name yantra is derived. Yadrichaya pravrittani bhutani svena vartmana niyam yasmin nayati yattat yantramiti krititam. The following verse from the Samarangana Sutradhara states that the 5 bijas are the essential factors of an yantra. Tasya bijam chaturda syat shitirapo analo anilah ashrayatvena chaitesham vyadapi upayujyate. The constituent elements of a yantra are 4, namely earth, water, fire, and air. As they depend upon space or ether for their movement or operation, ether acts as the substratum, hence the 5 bijas. Among these, the earth is the main constituent as it is more pronounced and more in quantity in any yantra. Boja also discusses whether Suta or mercury, which is an indispensable element in some yantras like the Vimana yantra, is to be held as one among the primary bijas along with the other 5. Though his predecessors have considered mercury as 6th bija, Boja himself terms mercury as Parthiva and brings it under the earth element, even if one might find the qualities of fire, water, and air in it. Vinnaha sutasya kairuktaha techa samyangna janate prakritya parthivaha sutasnayat tatra kriya bhavet. Moving on to the text also gives the general characteristics of yantras as swayam vahaka or automatic, sakrit preyaha or requiring propelling only once. Then there is the characteristic of antarita vahya, machine with hidden mechanism, and adura vahya, the apparatus of which is placed quite proximate. He also Boja also declares that mission is the best. That mission is best whose principle of action is concealed, alakshyatya, and which achieves manifold purposes and excites wonder, which is tattva. He also gives the secondary bijas as after a lavish encomium on the comfort and advantages to be enjoyed through the machines, Boja proceeds to describe the constituent elements or the bijas. While all the elements may be used for a single yantra, it is to be named after the dominant element. The materials like metal, where tin, iron, copper, and silver, wood, leather, and textiles, the parts and principles, namely like the wheel and the rotation, the suspenders and the hangings, like the rod, shafts, and the caps, the tools, then the works like measuring, cutting, etc. All these are mentioned as secondary materials or bijas to be used along with the primary bijas for the Parthiva yantras. After delineating the secondary bijas very aptly, he says that there is no hard and fast enumeration of these multiple bijas. For in some cases, a particular bija is said to be in greater proportion and in some cases otherwise. The text also says that any production requiring that is as it does, the form, the rupa, for its tangible manifestation must take earth as its secondary substratum, the primary cause, of course, being ether. Hence, as the varieties of yantras are incalculable, so are their forms. Here, the Samarana Sutradhara also lists out the Yantra Gunas or the merits of a good machine. They are as follows. Here I have given it. Proper and proportionate utilization of constituent elements, well-knit construction, firmness of appearance, inscrutability, functional efficiency or nirvahana, lightness, lagutva, absence of noise where not so desired, and a loud noise when noise is intended as an end is also not is also good. Freedom from looseness, freedom from stiffness, and smooth and unhampered motion, production of intended effects in cases where the wear is of the category of curios, the securing of the rhythmic quality in the motion, and going into action when required, assumption of the still state when not required, freedom from uncouth appearance, verisimilitude, and then firmness, softness, and durability of Chirakala or Chirakala Sahatva. These have been enumerated as the Yantra Gunas, that is a good machines qualities, good qualities. As said before, Boja considers alakshyatva or invisibleness and shushlishtvatva or perfection as the best qualities of a machine. We know that a yantra is an unnatural and abnormal object and entity. Naturally, therefore, if its unnaturality and abnormality are visualized by the spectators, it loses all its charm. For example, in the case of a doorkeeper machine, the alakshyatva, impossibility of the yantra and its composition lies in making it look realistically like a real doorkeeper worthy of high craftsmanship. Thus, the alakshata does not mean the object, but it aims at the subjective perception of the admirers. The second attribute is the sushlishtvatva or perfection. Unless the joining of the different parts of a machine are in perfect order and the minutiae of its details are well laid, the high accomplishment desired cannot follow. The machines are categorized not only by action peculiar to each, but also by the particular times when they are to operate. The speciality of some is sound, some height, form, or touch, and so on. Action is across, upward, downward, backward, forward, or either side, speeding and crawling. Another factor is the time taken for the action. In sound, the factors are variety, the quality of pleasing, or capacity to terrify. A very important variety of yantra of this category is one acclaimed of musical ternary, the Vaditra, along with their sub-varieties. Namely, you have Gita or vocal music. You have the different sub-varieties I have listed here. And Vadya is the musical instrument, and I have given it like Veena, Kamya, Sthala, Trimila, and so on. And then you have the Nritya or dance, where you have the sub-varieties as Nataka, Tandava, Lasya, Rajamarga, and Deshi. Boja also says that some other yantras aim at the rupa and sparsha. As regards rupa, there are innumerable class for production of whole themes in machinery. For instance, the Devasura war, the churning of the ocean, Risimha killing Hiranyaksha, elephant fights, a mock army, the Dolakelis, the Ratigrihas, and the different varieties of sabhas or assemblies, the automatic servant machine, and so on. These are actually machinery that are made based on these themes, and they are appealing through their rupa or form. Moving on, there is no systematic classification given in the text about the varieties of yantras. However, all the yantras described in it can be arranged under 5 categories, namely Vinoda yantra or amusement or for amusement, Dirhya and Palaka yantras, which are domestic and defensive yantras, Sangrama yantras or war machines, Vari yantras are water machines, and Yana are vehicles or conveyance machines. Under the Vinoda yantra or yantras for amusement, he first Boja gives Bhumika Shaya Prasarpana, where 5 stories could be arranged and the bed placed on the ground is made to go up to each higher floor at the end of each watch of the night. Here here is this is a small video of a modern mechanical bed that could resemble the technology they could have had at those times. So, and then he talks about Putrika Nadi Prabodhana. It is a kind of chronometer. It has a circular device in which, in a broad open vessel, there are 30 probably ivory figures or tooth-like pieces lying flat all along the circumference. The whole thing revolves. In the center is the figure of a lady who wakes up one figure or piece for every Nadika. Next is the Shirabishaya. This is another pleasure contrivance in which the serpent-like bed goes up and down by the soft action of air, like that of a serpent's breathing. Bhoja mentions about a Gola Brahmana Yantra under the Vinoda Yantras. It is an astronomical model in which there are needles showing the day and night movements of the heavenly bodies like sun, etc. Mentioning such an astronomical model under Vinoda Yantras leads to the fact that the science of mathematics and astronomy was so prevalent and was involved even in day-to-day activities. Another chronometer is described in which there is a rider on a chariot, an elephant, or any other animal for a fixed time. Say one Nadika, the rider on his mount goes around, and at the end of the Nadika, the chronometer strikes. A dancing doll pouring oil in the lamp keeps on circumambulating to beating of a tune. This is another contrivance. Other amusing yantras are speaking, singing, and dancing birds, a dancing elephant, horse, or monkey, water going up and descending, a mock fight, and others worked by the manipulation of air. Bhoja concludes this section with the observation that not only these, but many more similar contrivances could be invented. Even movements impossible in actual life are possible in yantras. The following amusement yantras are described with some details of its manufacture. A wooden bird in whose hollow body is placed a copper contrivance with 1 inch long and 1/4 inch high of slender cylindrical shape in two well-joined halves, allowing a hole at the center along which air passes when the bird moves, creating a pleasing sound. This is one yantra that he has described fully. The next is a bedroom accessory. The mechanism is similar to the above, except that in this there is a drum-like piece placed in the halves. As the bird oscillates, a highly pleasing sound is created, which reduces the anger of the ladies who are cross. Regarding the actual process of making these, Bhoja says that only the constituent elements and basic principles have been mentioned, but not their actual construction. Katitan yatra bijani yantranam ghatana na yat. He further adds that he remains silent on the actual mode of construction in order to give material advantage to the architects and for enhancing their curiosity so that men of imagination could develop on these and construct similar yantras. Tasmat Vyakti Kriteshu Eshu na Syat Swartona Kautukam Abhyuham Swadiya Pragnaihi Yantranam Karmayat Tata Karmayat Yata. Another interesting statement that Bhoja makes is that some of the yantras described by him are actually seen by him. Yantrani Yani Drishtani Kirtitan Yatra Tanyapi. Moreover, this is a very important point that Bhoja mentions, that Bhoja clearly says that his silence on the actual mode of construction is to keep it a secret and not out of ignorance. Yantranam Gatana Nokta Guptyartam na Agnyata Vashat. Moving on to the next category of yantras, Grihya yantras or yantras for domestic usage. This variety of Grihya yantras comprise of male and female figures designed for various kinds of automatic service. Each part of these figures is made and fitted separately with holes and pins so that thighs, eyes, neck, hand, wrist, forearm, and fingers can act according to the need. The yantra is mainly made of wood, but a leather cover is given to make it look like a human. The movements are managed by a system of holes, pins, and strings attached to the rods, controlling each limb. These automatons perform actions like looking into a mirror, playing a lute, and stretching out the hand to touch, giving tambula, sprinkle water, and make obeisance. Paragrahana, tambula, pradana, jala sechana, pranamadi, adarsha, pratilokana, veena vadyadi cha karoti. Similar automatons are used in place of palace guards or palakas as doorkeeper with a baton, sword, iron rod, spear, or other weapon and prevents the entry of outsiders. This can also quietly and quickly kill thieves who break into the palace at night. Moving on to the Sangrama Yantras or Yantras for warfare. The Yantra Vidya was applied to the art of Dhanurvidya or science of warfare. There are 4 classes of Shastras, namely Mukta, Amukta, Mukta Mukta, and Yantra Mukta. Of these varieties, the last one classifies the weapons used in warfare, which needed some mechanism to wield them. Bhoja closes this section with the mention of weapons such as chapas, etc., shatagnis, etc. Ushtagrivas or camel's neck-like machine resembling probably the modern cranes, which is a new machine mentioned by Bhoja. He also indicates 2 type of classification, namely Guptyartha and Kridartha, being military and pleasure or entertainment yantras. He then mentions about Vari yantras or water machines are 4-fold according to their direction of manipulating water. 4 yantras are mentioned in this category under 2 broad classifications, namely Karya Siddhyartha or purposeful and Kridartha, pleasure giving. They are Pata Yantra or waterfall machine, Samanadika for release of water at a higher level from tanks at that level. Pata Sama Ucharya, this uses bored columns for letting down water from a height and then taking it up through columns placed aslant. And then the 4th category is the Ucharya. Water from a well or in a canal on the ground is sent up by the yantra. Of these, of the above 4, the first yantra comes under the Karya Siddhartha category, while the other 3 fall under the Kridartha category. Then Bhoja explains 2 other major classifications of yantras, namely Dara Griha or shower bower and Dola Griha swing machines. He has given a lot of description about these 2 sections that they can form a separate paper on their own. And the popularity of Dara Griha can be known from its varieties as follows: Pravarshana, the shower; Pranala, the pipe; Jalamagna, chamber underwater; and Nadyavarta, a special design in mid-water to play hide and seek. The Dola Griha is also called Ratha Dola. It is a swing or merry-go-round in which people ride in seats and enjoy the pleasure of wheeling around. It has 5 main varieties called Vasanta, Madanotsava, Vasanta Tilaka, Vibramaka, and Tripura. All these are stories built upon one another and have a mechanism to rotate them, a complex of circular motion. The last one named Tripura has 3 tires, each on a higher plane than the earlier one. So maybe they had some, like we see in the amusement park nowadays, they may have had such amusement swings in those times. The most curious of all yantras described by Bhoja is the Vimana yantra, that the one that rises and travels in the air, and this is the only yantra that Bhoja has described that falls under the category of Yana yantra. Numerous references to this class of yantra, though found in many places in literature, the details of its actual construction and the mechanism thereof are the contribution of this rare treatise on yantras. The wooden Vimana machine flying in the air and the wooden bird machine traveling in the sky are 2 yantras which are described in detail here by Bhoja. The Samanagana Sutradhara gives the mechanical details of the formation of the machine and also the operation of the machine only at the peripheral level. Still, it gives information about the use of mercury to generate power. Ayak kapalahita manda varni pratapta tat kumbha bhuva gunena vyomno jagityabarana tvameti Santapta Garjat Rasaraja Shaktiya. So he gives that, he mentions that mercury was used in this Vimana Yantra to produce power. No other Shilpa text, to conclude, no other Shilpa text so far discovered other than the Shamanagna Sutradhara contains any chapter on Yantras. By the time of the 11th century, the time of Bhoja, the science of machines in India was in much degenerated condition. Whatever yantric knowledge was there was handed down in a distorted and uncultivated state. Scientific knowledge is never a matter of popular use, as it does not affect the people as a whole. Another cliche for the unpopularity of this concept is that the actual process of making these yantras has not been revealed. Bhoja says that it was done so to induce the imagination of men at large. He also says that the silence on the actual mode of construction is said to be for preserving this important knowledge, for giving a material advantage to the architects, and for enhancing curiosity about these yantras. However, from Bhoja's narrations, we come to know that even by his time, the science of machines have been closely guarded here by the continuity of the knowledge. Knowledge got severed down the line, making our country lose the tradition of knowledge. The inventions of machines in other countries by as late as 17th or 18th century had ushered in a blooming civilization. Hence, it's for the coming generation to delve deep into the ancient text and cull out the information regarding these. Thank you, and I thank the authorities of the Vedic Samskrita Sammela for this opportunity. Thank you.
Dhanyavadaha, Mahodaya.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the beautiful lecture. It is a scientific lecture with the background from Vedic texts given. Yeah. You want to speak?
Sir?
1 minute. I think Prabhakar Rao ji wants to speak.
Hari Om.
Yeah, go ahead.
Excellent collection of information. We thank you very much, Dr. Vidyuta ji. And we also thank you for giving the account of the various papers presented by the KSRI. I would like to, what is your position in KSRI?
I am currently a research associate, sir. I am doing a postdoctoral research project, sir.
Okay, I would like you to convey to the management, that Secretary Sita Sundaramji and others, that we are open to present any of your papers whenever you feel like present. Not necessary to be given to us for our project, but any project whenever you want to present on Veda Samskruti line, please give us a message. We'll arrange a webinar and we'll present it.
Thank you, sir.
So
Thank you,
this is
sir.
my open offer to the KSRI.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I request Babu to carry on with the conducting of the meeting.
Okay. Anybody wants to ask any question? The floor is open to all of you. Yeah. Sudha Bhimrao, can you ask your question?
Sarvebhyah Namaskaraha. Madam, could you throw some light on the yantras, which are there in the temples? They say that they attract some cosmic energy and they have some power. So I want to know more about it, because now that so many controversies are going around in the country, I want to exactly know whether they have that kind of power and effect. If you can throw some light on it.
Sir, ma'am, namaste, ma'am. My topic has been purely on mechanical contrivances. What you're talking about are yantras on the esoteric sphere.
Yes.
Like, the spiritual yantras.
Yes.
Which I have not done, ma'am.
Okay. Then it's okay. Thank you. Could you tell something about the astras which are used in the warfare? Like, like what they say is like, they utter the mantra and then they leave it so that only the effect goes. Is it scientifically proved, madam?
I don't know about the scientific part, but there had been astras and sastras. Astra is one that you yield by pronouncing a mantra, and then you yield it and it has an effect. And there are the other category of sastras, which I have mentioned here in my paper, which are mechanical contrivances or those you wield with your hand.
Okay, ma'am.
There are actually references to the shastras and yantras. Person from my institute has already done her thesis on Niti Prakashika, which talks about warfare and other things. So,
okay. Thank you,
refer to that. And for more details, you can also see our website, where they've given all the details about the PhD research topics or the and the projects that are currently being done at KSRA.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, anybody else? You have made any prototype of these things at KSRI?
No, sir. Not it, sir. No, sir.
It's only theoretical research.
Yes, sir. We are more into academic research, sir.
Academic research. Okay.
And this research also, if it is it with Sanskrit based research or English book based research?
Sanskrit, sir. Sanskrit.
So you read Sanskrit, you know Sanskrit?
Yes, sir.
So all the research scholars, they learn Sanskrit first.
Yes, sir. You have to decipher the text, right, sir? So we have to learn it, sir.
First you learn Sanskrit. So the original Sanskrit, you read and understand the original Sanskrit shloka. Not that just you follow a English translation and then make
No,
it.
sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Great.
Okay, let us request Ramakrishna ji. He wants to speak.
Namaste, Andy. Namaste to all. My question is, of course, Madam told, she has mostly worked on the mechanical, parts or mechanical designs of the yantras. Based on her knowledge, Dr. Vidyuta, do you have any, for example, today, all the development or technology, is based on the chips, the technology, is around the electronic chips. So
Yes,
is there any mention or, or any design made, those days of any electronic chips? This is just information if you have had, I just wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you for your question, sir. But as I had mentioned before, and as Boja has also explained, the only drawback about the mechanical interventions or any yantras that have been designed before is that they haven't been fully explicit about the mechanism that they have used in it. So we can just say that these contrivances existed that day, but I cannot there's no information about how it worked. So the mention of chips and all is not there. Thank you.
But the Vimana Shastra, Bharadwaj Vimana Shastra mentions about many lohas, which combination of the chemicals and then some molecules and all those things. So that is more or less a natural way of technology of chips, I understand. That's what my conception. So we have to do further research on this.
Yeah, because there's a great deal of development, in the modern science about the, the semiconductor chips. So that's what exactly has made the, phenomenal transformation, in the science and the usage of it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Prahad, Dr. Prahad Kumar may throw some light on this.
Thank you, sir. Only one point I want to give as a clarification. That is, at the same time as King Bhoja, there is one Ballala Sena who has written a text called Adbhuta Sagara, and he mentions a large number of yantras in his textbook. And he is not original Bengali, but he has moved from Karnataka to Bengal, and he has authored 2 textbooks. One is basically Adbhuta Sagara, and another its supplement. and where he has mentioned a large number of yantras dealing with a large number of applications. In addition to that, the Jewish temples of about 3000 BC and Egyptian temples of the same time, they have texts dealing with yantras, actually like what you have mentioned, doorkeepers, soldiers, archakas, and all those kinds of machines which were performing and doing a large number of wonderful things to actually astonish the visitors there, and automatic closing of doors, opening of doors, flowing of water, etc. So many more things were described in Jewish textbooks and also the textbooks of Egyptian antiquity. These are the two parallel developments going on, not only in India, but also in Egypt and also in Greek temples. They have been described in detail in their textbooks. That is the other thing. And in India also, where are these things? When they were mentioned, they were also used for practical purposes. But because of the, let us say, invaders' culture, most of them were destroyed and most of the practitioners were exterminated, so that the continuity of such techniques, crafts, and other things cannot be continued in India. Some of these surgeries performed by, let us say, the Shurakas of Tamil Nadu, just 200 years back, they were praised and recorded by English rulers at that time, but they have disappeared in our continuity, in our even Ayurveda and other things. Surgeries have been discontinued because of this, let us say, lack of patronage. And your performance is good, but only thing is that they have to be related to our practical applications as of today. And as mentioned by Ramakrishna Garu, who have moved even beyond semiconductors. Now there are optical computers and there are quantum computers which are almost entering the practical utility stage. Thank you, sir.
See, I have not given the relevance to the modern day because, as I had mentioned, the mechanism has not been mentioned. So I cannot compare it with the modern day machines. That's why I have mentioned them as automatons and not as robots.
No. I am not finding fault with your paper presentation. I am only giving it as a, for those who are interested, they can take up the reading of other textbooks I am mentioning, other books I am mentioning.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, these are the things which are recorded as existing even in the 17th and 18th centuries also. They have been actually exterminated by continued slaughter of people working in these professions. That's all. Thank you. And you have done a very good thing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Can you give more details about Bhoja?
Sir,
May I interfere, sir? There is actually in Dhara Nagara of that time, there is a mosque, there is a Saraswati Devi Alaya, which has now been converted into a mosque. And the background wall of that mosque actually contains a number of yantras right now.
Where you are talking about? Which place?
Dhara Nagara, there is a mosque, which is at present it is a mosque, but on the wall of that mosque, a number of yantras have been discovered, painted yantras.
Dhara Nagara was the capital of Bhojaraja, right?
Bhojaraja. But his dating is also not right because he is now dated to 11th century, but his actual date is about 4th century or 3rd century AD. As mentioned in other textbooks, where his biography is also given in detail. He had an uncle who tried to kill him.
So I was just wondering if you can give more details about Bhojara. Is Bhojaraj, no?
more details about Bhoja, sir.
He is the author of Champu Ramayana, sir.
Yes, sir. He has also done many textual, many other Sahitya works also, sir. But at present, I'm not having it, sir.
Because the topic, starts with Bhoja. So I thought,
sorry for interruption, sir. Bhoja Shringara Prakasha is one of the Sahitya texts, and which is also encyclopedic, which deals with literature, grammar, and other things also. Dr. Raghavan has done the thesis on Bhoja Shringara Prakasha. That is one of his magnum opus work.
Excuse me? Am I heard?
Thank you, sir.
Am I heard? Dr. Kameshwari speaking.
Go
Am I
ahead.
heard?
Yes,
Go
ma'am.
ahead.
Bhoja Avdara said to be of 12th century or the contemporary of Kalidasa, whichever it may be, had written a lot of works. The technical and on the literary side, we have two texts. One is, as Dr. Yamuna Devi said, it is Shringara Prakasa. The other is Saraswati Kandavarana, which is both an Alankarika text and a grammar text. One has to actually spend a lifetime to understand each of these works. They are all big, voluminous texts which need deep study. And as for Dr. Vidyuta's paper, more could be done on it if people of engineering side could delve deep into it. Since we are Sanskritis, we know only the text and we understand, we just try to give you what the content is. We are not able to understand the mechanism behind it. People who know have the engineering knowledge could do that and try to solve whether they could, they try to see whether they could do something out of it in a practical way. So it is left for the audience to continue this research. Thank you.
Yeah, one thing I would like to propose to KSRI people and other Sanskrit scholars. Veda Samskruti is interested in publishing the book reviews of Sanskrit books that are available with us in India. So the scholars can, well, during their study of various books for their paper, if they can create book reviews for each book, and those book reviews can be published in webinars, we'll welcome that. So that's the purpose of the many people in the country. They know which book is containing what. It's not necessarily only science. You read some book and what is there in that book? Who has written that book? Who is that person? What he has written? What he wanted to present? What is the science there? What is the, there are different aspects of what are the human rights there? What are the story there? Based on some more we have got some concepts. But 9 to 7 concepts are there. 9 to 9 concepts are there. Leadership qualities, human rights, conduct, ethical, moral, and then story way, story, what is the story there? Like that, you take the each and every aspect that is being modernly thought of, and then create a book review for each book. We are open to publish those book reviews in our webinars in future. So if you can do that, kindly come forward and tell us. We'll be happy to. We'll try to associate with KSRI and do that. Please convey to your management.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Sir, thank you. Today, Dr. Kameshwari Madam was here speaking just before me. She is the guiding light for Kuppuswam Shastri Research Institute to do all scientific texts, sir. So starting from mathematics, she encouraged students to take up such scientific texts lying in Sanskrit field so that it is brought out. So she's our director and propelling light also. I wanted to introduce her since she is here, sir. Thank you very much.
Swagatam, madam. Swagatam, Mahoday. Please speak. Bhavatyaha Upadesham dadatu Bhavatyaha Salaha Kimapi Asti. Please give us the light, throw light on this, your activities and your opinions on this Karyakrama.
My video is not working, so you will not be able to see me. Doesn't matter. We are a wonderful organization. We have got a group of people who are willing to work under us, and whatever we tell them to do, they do. That's the best gift that we have got, our students. The institute had been started in 1944 in memory of Kuppuswami Shastri, the first principal of Madras Sanskrit College. We are now 75 years old. We will be celebrating the 75th year rather belatedly this year. We will have the program.
Excuse me, I'm not clear, ma'am. Your voice is not clear.
Oh, then it's all right. I'll do one thing. Whatever, I think another time I'll take opportunity and then talk to you all. Is it all right?
Yeah, please give us a lecture on KSRI activities on some Saturday between 4 to 5:30.
Yeah.
Please give us the date.
I'll end of this month.
Sometime any time you give us a date. 18th we are not free. 18th Saturday we are not free. Other days you can.
Okay. I'll contact you later.
Yeah,
Right?
please.
Okay.
Okay, there is one question in the chat. Are there available any ethical notes or guidelines on the use of yantra? Somebody has, you have already replied, I think. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
can find it in.
Samanana Sutradhara itself, you have the ethical notes for how a machine should be handled and everything, sir.
Okay, good. Already answered. So I think, if there are no other questions, we will do prarthana and do Janaganamana.
Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramayah. Sarve bhadrani pasyantu. Ma kachchit dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om. Sahana vavatu. Sahana bhunaktu. Sahaviryam karavavahai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Satyam Vada Dharman Chara. Sarve Janaah Sukhino Bhavantu. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu Idam Namama. Hari Om. Janaganamana.
Let us all stand up and then sing Janaganamana. All of you sing, but don't unmute.
Janaganamana Adhinayaka Jaya He Bharata Bhagya Vidhata Punjab Sindhu Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachala Yamuna Ganga Ujjvala Jaladhi Taranga Tava Subhanami Jage Tava Subha Ashisha Mahe Gahe Tava Jaya Gadha Janagana Mandala Dayaka Jaya He Bharata Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He Jai Hind Jai Hind Jai Hind Jai Shri Ram Jai Shri Ram
Jai Hind.
Namaskara, Sarvebhya Namaskara.